Maryland improves to 8-3. Towson only handed its second loss of the season. On an off day, the Ravens will make a number of roster moves. One of those I find interesting, and Malik Cunningham. The quarterback, once official, will take up an active roster spot. It's definitely not a move for this season, but perhaps for next. The Ravens snatched the rookie off the Patriots practice squad. Cunningham will be an excellent backup option for Lamar Jackson, with Tyler Huntley getting expensive and Josh Johnson's future unknown. Cunningham was a freshman during Jackson's final season at Louisville. That roster spot will be made available once the Ravens place receiver and return specialist Devin Duvernay on the injured reserve. Duvernay left Sunday's game against the Rams early with a back injury, leaving those return duties open for receiver Tylan Wallace, and the rest is history. Duvernay, though, could return in time for a Ravens playoff run. Those Ravens are saying thank you to the Tennessee Titans today, or the Miami Dolphins' epic collapse, however you want to frame it. Miami blew a 14-point fourth-quarter lead to the Titans with under 3 to play at home on Monday Night Football to a rookie quarterback and a team that entered with just 4 wins. That Miami loss gave the Ravens first place in the AFC playoff picture if the season ended today. The Ravens will have second-year cornerback Pepe Williams for the final month of the season. Williams was added to the active roster this evening. He's been on the IR since August with an ankle injury and returned to practice 3 weeks ago.
We are getting ready for a chilly couple days, but we return to nice and higher temperatures right in time for the weekend. 54 and sunny on Friday, then temperatures just a little warmer. 56 on Saturday with a mix of sunshine and clouds. And then on Sunday, we have the chance for a few spotty showers later in the day. That rain continues into Monday. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at just how long this warm trend lasts in my Weather Authority forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock tonight, a bomb threat against Maryland public schools. We break down the FBI's investigation. More than a month after the FBI conducted a search at a Say Streets location in Baltimore, why some are concerned about potential gang ties to the program.
Two teens jumped by a group of young people at the mall. Why some say incidents like these aren't surprising. One Baltimore community seeing nearly 400 car thefts this year alone, why residents say they're scared to be alone. And overwhelming support for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. We break down tonight's United Nations vote.
Live From WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Not only are we seeing crimes committed by juveniles, but we're seeing juveniles as the victims.
Anne Arundel County police say 2 teens were jumped by a large group of juveniles inside Arundel Mills Mall Saturday night. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Mary Bubala. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has details.
This robbery happening at the height of holiday shopping season, and today a law enforcement expert calling what happened here Saturday night concerning but not surprising. It happened just after Arundel Mills Mall closed Saturday night.
Juvenile involved robbery in the hallway in front of the Bass Pro entrance on the interior of the mall.
Police say a pair of teen boys, just 14 and 15 years old, were walking through the mall when they were assaulted by a large group of teens, some of them masked, robbing the pair of a gold chain and gold watch before running off.
Juvenile victims, juvenile suspects.
The suspects, police say, 8 to 10 boys between 14 and 16 years old. The assault and robbery coming in the midst of busy holiday shopping, but also as the state and country grapples with repeated incidents of crime and violence involving kids and teens.
Not only are we seeing crimes committed by juveniles, but we're seeing juveniles as the victims.
Sergeant Betsy Smith, spokeswoman for the National Police Association, speaking to the challenge that malls pose to law enforcement.
When you have these roving groups of juveniles, that is a challenge to law enforcement and a challenge to security, because just being a group of kids walking around a mall is not illegal, but kids will be kids.
It was last December, in the final days of 2022, when juveniles made headlines for a disturbance at Towson Town Center, a mall in neighboring Baltimore County. Video from Citizen app showed the Towson Circle packed with people and police lights. Court documents from the incident called it a large and unruly crowd, prompting the canine and aviation units to be brought in. 8 teens were arrested after that incident, 7 of them juveniles.
Preventing this and stopping this all starts, of course, at home with parenting.
And tonight, as Anne Arundel County Police ask for people to come forward with information about this suspected teen-on-teen crime at the local mall, this police expert warns of the trickle-down if shoppers don't feel safe.
As we see retail theft on the rise, as we see incidents like you guys saw at the mall on the rise, what that does is it puts fear into the hearts of people who are going to decide that, you know what, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to do my shopping online. I'm not going to contribute to my community.
And late this afternoon, a spokesperson for Arundel Mills Mall directing our questions to police. Meanwhile, Anne Arundel County Police say they've increased patrols in and around the mall during this holiday season. But as far as what happened here Saturday night, only willing to tell us it's still under investigation. At Arundel Mills, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
And new tonight, school officials in Baltimore County notifying parents of a bomb threat made against public schools. In a note sent home to families, school officials say the threat alleged explosive devices had been placed in all Baltimore County schools and really all Maryland public schools. According to officials, the threats were sent in an anonymous email. The FBI telling Fox 45 News today, in part, the FBI remains vigilant and continues to work closely with our law enforcement partners on a state and local level. The FBI asks members of the public to maintain awareness of their surroundings and to report any suspicious activity to law enforcement. Similar threats have been made to school systems across the country during the last few days, actually. The FBI says it is aware of these threats. As safety concerns grow across the state, one Baltimore community has seen nearly 400 car thefts just this year. Frankfort is leading city neighborhoods with 398 auto thefts reported so far this year. Coming in second is Baltimore's Bel Air Edison neighborhood at 326, followed by the city's popular Canton community with 260. The former president of the Frankfort Neighborhood Association had this response.
No one ever expected it to be as big as it is now. People are scared to be alone. We don't think the police or the city is the only solution. I think we all know that we all play a part in that solution.
Johnson says he recently posted to the community website Nextdoor offering to walk neighbors to and from their homes in cars and received a large response. In total, Northeast Baltimore has seen more than 1,100 auto thefts in the past 5 months. If you have a stolen car story or know somebody who's been impacted by the spike in auto thefts, we want to hear about it. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen. Tell us what happened or send an email to news@foxbaltimore.com.
Should that be a concern for the mayor and city leadership?
It should be a big concern. Yeah, it should be a huge concern. You know, these members should not be working for a community anti-crime strategy program for the state or for the city.
More than a month after the FBI conducted a search of the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets location, renewed concern over possible gang members working for the city's flagship gun violence intervention program. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost joins us with what we're learning tonight.
Through a new records request, we're learning the names of the workers at the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets site, which remains inactive. And one name specifically is no stranger to federal law enforcement. A public records request peeling back the layers of the employees at one Safe Streets site. Now temporarily shuttered, the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets site under the microscope after the FBI executed a search warrant on October 26th. Since then, have a good day. The door locked and activity paused. Fox 45 News reporting on the site supervisor David Caldwell, who's facing state-level charges after law enforcement found ammunition in his home during a federal search. But Fox 45's latest investigation uncovering, along with Caldwell, Lamont Crooks is also on the payroll. Seen here on cell phone records provided by Baltimore City's law department. And here on this LifeBridge mandatory meeting sign-in sheet from August 2023. We're redacting the other names on the list for now. But Crooks' name also appears here throughout this entire 2010 federal search warrant during a Black Guerrilla Family or BGF gang investigation. According to the warrant, Crooks was named a BGF affiliate who was one of the heroin sources of supply for BGF. At the time, Crooks was on federal supervised release after serving just under 4 years in prison for firearm charges. Stemming from that investigation, Crooks was sentenced in December 2011 to just under 6 years. That sentence later reduced to 5 years in February 2015, and he was released from prison in April of the same year. While the current federal investigation involves at least one Safe Streets worker, Caldwell, the FBI isn't saying much about the scope of the probe. Sources close to the investigation, however, tell Fox 45 News it could be connected to possible BGF affiliation.
The Black Guerrilla Family is a dangerous gang.
Johnny Hughes recently retired as the U.S. Marshal for the District of Maryland. He remembers when BGF infiltrated prisons in Maryland and Baltimore City and says if there are BGF members working in the Safe Streets locations,
should that be a concern for the mayor and city leadership?
It should be a big concern. Yeah, it should be a huge concern. You know, these members should not be working for a community anti-crime strategy program for the state or for the city.
Monday, Fox 45 News sent the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, or MONSE, several questions, including, is Mayor Scott's office familiar with any current or past BGF affiliates or gang members employed at Safe Streets sites? What precautions are taken to ensure BGF members do not seek employment with Safe Streets? Not specifically answering the questions, instead, MONSE offering a lengthy statement saying in part, quote, we take any allegations of wrongdoing or active affiliation with group violence extremely seriously. And Safe Streets employees are hired after multiple rounds of vetting. Tuesday, Fox 45 News following up, asking additional questions like, are you aware of Bel Air Edison Safe Streets worker Lamont Crooks' history with BGF? Why was Crooks rehired by Safe Streets despite his past gang affiliation? Is Lamont Crooks still employed with Safe Streets? MONSE says they need more time to answer those questions. Meanwhile, the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets site remains inactive, and LifeBridge Health, which manages the site, says it's not sure when it will reopen. We sent questions to LifeBridge about Lamont Crooks. LifeBridge acknowledging our questions, but telling us they need more time to respond. So when we have more information, we'll let you know. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 has been investigating the Safe Streets program for years, aiming to bring you transparency and accountability from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. You can find all of our past reporting on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
Breaking news to report to you right now. The United Nations General Assembly overwhelmingly votes to demand a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. 153 of the world's bodies, 193 members, voted in favor of that resolution. Tonight's show of support higher than for an October 27th resolution calling for a humanitarian truce. This comes following the United States' veto of a similar resolution in the Security Council on Friday. Now, unlike Security Council resolutions, General Assembly resolutions are not legally binding, but the vote shows growing isolation of Israel and the U.S. on the world stage. This is a developing situation. We ask that you stay with Fox 45 News for the latest updates, both on air and online.
Should America keep funding the war in Ukraine? And why do critics say there's somewhere else that money should be going? I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with a look coming up.
And we're getting ready for a chilly night as temperatures fall to the 30s. Then tomorrow, only highs in the 40s, but warmer temperatures are on the way for the weekend. I'll let you know just how high the numbers get in my full forecast.
Today's inflation report had some good and bad news in it. It showed overall inflation easing in November as gas prices continue to fall. But core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy goods, ticked up slightly. The White House says the past investment on things like supply chains has helped, but that more work is needed.
So we've seen this progress, and we've seen it while the economy has been strong, while unemployment has stayed below 4% for 22 months in a row. But despite all this progress, I think the president understands that prices remain too high for the American people and that lowering costs is his top economic priority.
Prices have slowed since hitting 40-year highs in 2022. And in October, both core and overall inflation dipped further. Now, we could see interest rate cuts by the midpoint of the next year. According to CNBC Federal Survey, which polled economists and strategists, more than half expect the first cuts by June. 69% say July is more likely. They'll expect roughly 85 basis points of cuts in 2024. That's not anywhere near the 120 basis points built into the futures markets. Since last year, the Fed has raised the terminal rate more than 400 basis points. Well, with the war in Ukraine entering what could be a difficult winter, some experts worry Russia will try to gain the upper hand. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky came to Washington today in hopes of convincing Congress to provide more funds and firepower. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman explains why some are pushing back.
President Zelensky, what are the stakes today?
The shouts of questions on Capitol Hill reflecting the uncertainty overseas. How much more funding and support will American lawmakers provide Ukraine in its fight against Russia?
It was a very powerful meeting. President Zelensky made it so clear how he needs help. But if he gets the help, he can win this war.
I've made this very clear. Again, from the very beginning, when I was handed the gavel, we needed clarity on what we're doing in Ukraine and how we'll have proper oversight of the spending of precious taxpayer dollars of the American citizens.
President Zelensky meeting Tuesday with top Democrats and Republicans before heading to the White House to ask personally for President Biden's help.
It's very important, and people need to be confident that freedom is secure and strong enough to win.
I've just signed another $200 million drawdown from the Department of Defense for Ukraine, and that'll be coming quickly.
But a recent poll shows 48% of Americans believe Washington is spending too much on aid for Ukraine. Reports indicate America has spent more than $75 billion in the war so far. That's more than 3 times the proposed budgets for U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Immigration Enforcement for this current fiscal year.
Documents ready.
And that's where critics, mostly Republicans, say the focus needs to shift. America's southern border, with a record-breaking number of migrants apprehended and at times as many as 10,000 a day this winter. Republicans want more money for border control before doling out more to Ukraine and Israel as well, even if that delays actions until 2024.
Unfortunately, this is about the only leverage Republicans have to force this administration to actually secure the border, and I think we ought to take that opportunity because this is our top priority, is to secure that border.
Now back to that $200 million announcement from President Biden today. The White House has signaled that there are other areas, a few of them, where they can get other funds to then provide before the end of the year. But they said after that, the pot is empty. Mary?
And Scott, you mentioned 2024. How long could this funding fight drag out?
Yeah, to be determined. As you know, Republicans control the House, Democrats the Senate, and they're very much at odds over this. The GOP has really drawn a line in the sand, saying we're not going to pay for one unless we get the other. So the question is, will they try to pass these individually as small spending bills, maybe more likely, or try and put it in a larger spending bill, but that could greatly complicate matters.
And take time. All right, Scott Thuman live in D.C. for us tonight. Thank you.
It's been a pretty quiet day, and tomorrow looks quiet as well, but we do have a cold front that's on the way, and that's going to reinforce the cooler temperatures. You'll notice that on Thursday. Current temperatures right now, though, 43 with nice and clear skies over Baltimore. Our wind chill is in the 30s, so it does feel a little bit cooler than those actual temperatures. Around the state, we're seeing the 30s and the low 40s with nice and clear skies around the entire state. It's been pretty nice and calm. Overnight, our temperatures will drop to the 20s and 30s, waking up to cold weather. You will want the layers. Then by the afternoon, we'll stay pretty close to average. As we reach the upper 40s, we're looking at a high of 48, and that's right around average for this time of year. But our next weather maker is going to lead to lower numbers on Thursday. We'll stay nice and dry overnight and tomorrow thanks to high pressure. And then we have this cold front that's going to move across our region tomorrow. Behind that cold front, high pressure, so will remain dry over the next couple days, but following the cold front, you can expect a drop in temperatures. Tonight will stay quiet and clear, waking up to plenty of sunshine tomorrow. Then by the afternoon, more clouds move in. Temperatures reach the upper 40s. Then we'll have nice and clear skies. A few more clouds move in for early Thursday morning. By the afternoon, nice and sunny and quiet, but temperatures on the cool side. We'll stay dry for the remainder of the week, but next week we start with a few showers on Sunday, and then we have the chance for scattered showers on Monday before a drier day on Tuesday. Tonight we fall to 33 with clear and cold weather. Then tomorrow our highs reach 48 with sunshine and clouds. Again, we'll have cooler temperatures on Thursday before a warm up over the weekend. I'll let you know just how high the numbers get for your weekend in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Steam fog rises over the Black Warrior River in Alabama this morning. This happens when the air is much colder than the body of water that it's over. Ice and snow make for beautiful winter wonderland shots on Beach Mountain in western North Carolina. And altocumulus clouds, in this case also known as cloud streets, roll across the sky in eastern Illinois.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
A missing plane part lost for more than a decade found on a bike ride in California. How it's shedding light on a deadly crash 11 years ago. A California man riding his mountain bike on a trail near his home makes a discovery, a long-lost piece of a deadly plane crash 11 years ago. Rich Rodriguez from our Sinclair sister station in Fresno has the story.
Brian Warkentine likes to ride his bike in the mountains near his home in Shaver Lake. He's always looking for things to photograph and recently stumbled on what appears to be a plane rudder. He took to social media to ask if the part just fell off an airplane or if there was a crash he didn't know about. Mountain residents responded quickly, saying the part likely came from a crash on November 10th, 2012. A father and son from the Midwest Patrick and Scott Clark, died in the crash. This is what the NTSB told Fox 26 News the day after the accident.
What we have on site right now, we just have the fuselage. We're still in the process of looking for the wings and the tail section.
This is one part of the tail section that investigators never found. It's in good shape and shows little sign of weathering. According to the FAA, the Cessna 421C,